Good morning, LA, and welcome back to another edition of LA40. I'm your host, Katerina Kazayas. It's Thursday, a little past the hour, and we are getting ready for yet another fantastic episode. Today's episode is all about keeping you heart healthy. And to get us going, in studio with us all the way from Chicago today is Dr. Harry Elwert. Dr. Harry, welcome to the program.
Well, it's great to be here.
Thank you for coming down to Los Angeles to help not only people locally in LA, but across the globe, because we are streaming on the internet, which means we hit fans in Portugal, fans in Canada, fans in Brazil, and of course, fans in the USA.
That's good news.
Yes. You, sir, are the author of the book, Let's Stop the Number One Killer in America. I'm sorry, Let's Stop the Number One Killer of Americans Today. Now, the thing is, heart disease is not only killing Americans, it's killing people worldwide. It is the number one killer in the world right now.
It is a global issue. Yes, it is.
It is a global issue. For those of you watching, we are streaming live on LA Talk Radio's network, as you know, also on iTunes, but we are also lately also streaming on Facebook. So I want to give a big shout out to our Facebook people here today. And we want to let you know that we have opened up Facebook, the portal today, to be able to answer your questions. So if you're tuning in with us and if you have information and questions for Dr. Harry, please don't hesitate to type them through. Of course, you can also dial into the show if you'd like, and you're on phone, on radio. The dial-in number is 818-570-5085. That's 818-570-5085. And again, we're taking questions across Facebook. Dr. Harry, millions of people are dying of heart disease every day. Talk to me a little bit about why this is such an epidemic.
Well, it's an epidemic because of our diets, because of chemicals in our environment. A lot of it is hereditary. You know, simple facts that your mother, your father, your grandparents, it is passed from generation to generation. That's the number one cause for heart disease, is hereditary, and there's really nothing you can do about that. You can't change your parents all of a sudden. So, but we'll talk about ways that we can actually reverse that trend.
Well, you know, one of the things that I'm a little concerned about, because I have heart disease in my family, primarily on my mother's side, and we have diabetes and high blood pressure and heart disease, and so for me, it is absolutely genetic. I hope that I'm able to do things preventatively, and we'll get into a little bit of that a little bit later. But what you have done, sir, is you have decided to target and attack this epidemic holistically. So you're a naturopath. Talk to me a little bit about your background and how you fell into that side of the medical field.
Well, interesting enough, I was selling supplements through a multi-level marketing company, and I wanted to know more. So I went back to school, became a certified nutritional counselor, master herbalist, and then I went on to become a naturopathic doctor. And for my thesis, or my dissertation, I decided to choose heart disease as why in America and around the world is it still the number one killer, and what natural cures are out there. So that led me to actually getting hired by a pharmaceutical company, which kind of sounds strange, but upon graduation I got hired by a pharmaceutical company that had the first medical food for heart disease that had an ingredient called arginine, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, a lot more. But from there I went on to do supplements for other companies, and then about 9 years ago I said, you know what? I'm going to launch my own company and do my own best unique formula yet, and that's where we're at today.
Right, and the name of your company is Health Guardian.
The Health Guardian, absolutely.
Right, so healthguardian.com for more information. We'll get to that in a little bit. What I'd like to talk about is the staggering cost behind trying to treat heart disease globally. We are spending $350 billion a day. $1 billion a day on something that arguably can be largely prevented. That number is crazy to me.
That is crazy. It's funny, as I was walking out the door, my marketing director gave me a piece of paper that said, CBS said that people are wasting their money 1 out of 3 Americans are spending $21 billion on vitamins and mineral supplements, and they're wasting their money because it doesn't help heart disease. And I was just shocked by that. But it was published in the American Heart Association, and who pays for American Heart Association but the pharmaceutical companies?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right.
The day before, I received an email from a cardiac nurse that does testing on people. She said that a lady came in, she had a terrible heart condition, terrible blood pressure, that she gave 1 scoop of my product, and in 45 minutes retested her. Her blood pressure went to normal, her heart output exceeded the normal, and that was in 45 minutes. So are people wasting their money? I'm here to say no, you are not wasting your money, not at all.
You're not wasting your money if you're taking your supplement.
Well, supplements in general. I'm not going to say that my supplement's the only supplement that's the best on the market. But you're talking about $350 billion is what we like to say in naturopathic medicine, cut, poison, and burn, or drugs, radiation, and surgery. Naturopathy, we believe that there is a cure somewhere in nature, and God has put it on this planet, and oftentimes, the African Indians and in tribes, they had medicine men who would try different flowers and roots and herbs, and all pharmaceuticals are based upon what they discovered. They take a plant and then they synthesize it, make it a chemical, and then they put it in the body, but it's not the same as a food, and your body reacts. Your kidneys can't handle it, your liver can't handle it because it's a toxin. And so, it does not do the same good, and it has side effects.
I was going to say, and the side effects make you take more pharmaceutical drugs to counteract the side effect of the original pharmaceutical drug. I want to take this all the way back for a moment. Most people understand what a heart attack is about, but a lot of people don't understand what we mean when we say heart disease. Can you talk to me about the breadth of what that covers? Let's start there.
That covers an awful lot. We can talk about cardiovascular disease. Now, that is a heart attack. That's cardiac arrest. That's a stroke. That's critical limb ischemia. That is coronary artery disease. That is congestive heart failure. That is congenital heart failure. All these things come under cardiovascular disease or heart disease.
Now, what are some of the myths around cardiovascular disease? Because there's a lot of information floating around the internet. People don't know what is true, what isn't. So what are some of the myths out there right now?
I would say the number one myth is cholesterol. I think that is well overplayed. There's a doctor, Dr. Dwight Lundell. He was a famous surgeon, and he said, we are failing at heart disease. We tell everybody no fat and take your statin drug, your Lipitor, Zocor, Crestor, or whatever. And he says, we are losing the war on this. He walked away from a practice of doing heart surgery and now just offers supplementation. And he was like one of the leading cardiologists doing heart surgery in this country. But yeah, cholesterol, it would be like this. There's a four-way stop, and cars come to it, and every day there's accidents. So an investigator goes there, he looks at the street and sees tire tracks, and he says, oh, you know what? The tire tracks caused this accident. Well, no, they're there because of the accident, and cholesterol is the tire tracks. Yes, when they open you up, you have cholesterol, but what caused that cholesterol? And it's a defensive mechanism in your body. And your brain is actually 78% cholesterol. Your immune system is dependent upon cholesterol, your sexual system. Every system of your body needs that cholesterol, and by limiting it, now we have Alzheimer's and an epidemic.
Yes, and that's true. Alzheimer's is growing in terms of the people that are getting afflicted by it. And you think that's because the last 20, 30 years the message has been cut the fat? Cut the fat
and take your statin.
Yeah.
Take your statin.
Those two, right? So, I know some people that I know, it, again, in my family that have high cholesterol, and they're told don't eat the yolk of an egg, don't eat, too much, take that out of your diet. But we're talking the healthy fats, right? Again, we're talking avocado, salmon oil, not Doritos.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, there's good fat and there's bad fat. Absolutely.
And good cholesterol and bad cholesterol.
Well, actually, all cholesterol is good. It's only when the cholesterol oxidizes, the LDL cholesterol oxidizes, that it becomes a problem. Well, taking a statin doesn't block that from happening. In fact, some of the drugs, like Crestor, actually amplifies atherosclerosis or plaque buildup. Yes, your cholesterol is 150, but you're still having plaque in your arteries. What arginine-derived nitric oxide does is prevents the LDL cholesterol from oxidizing, thus it doesn't build up plaque.
So I'd like to talk about that right now, because you have developed this supplement here, and it is largely based around arginine, which you've mentioned a few times.
Right.
What is arginine, and why is it important to add it into your daily routine?
Well, the interesting thing, arginine is a simple amino acid. There's 22 amino acids that we need. Protein is rich in amino acids. What was discovered about arginine was 3 Nobel scientists back in 1998 won the Nobel Prize on something called nitric oxide. Well, nitric oxide has the ability to open up your arteries, melt away plaque, do miracles in your body. The number one thing that creates nitric oxide in the body is arginine. So the top supplement in this product is actually 5 grams of arginine per serving, and that's where the miracles begin.
And part of what the arginine, arginine?
Either or.
Okay. I'm Canadian, so I've got a little leeway on my tomato and my tomatoes. You have here that it improves your energy, it improves your strength, it improves mental clarity, stamina, and immune and muscle growth, in addition to clearing out the arteries.
Right. There's certain things we can't say on the label.
Okay.
But we can say those things. Yes, you will sleep better, you will feel better, you will take fewer prescription medicines, you will, you'll have more stamina. But it does all those things plus work on as far as heart disease, stroke, critical limb ischemia, and all those things I mentioned before.
And I was going to say, before we were talking about the pharmaceutical companies, they're probably not too happy with products like yours that are on the market, because you're almost in competition with what they're trying to offer as a solution.
And that's why those reports come out via the media. Well, CBS, who pays for CBS's advertising? Watch the late news or 60 Minutes, you're going to see 5 ads for Zocor or all the different pharmaceutical drugs.
There's 1 stroke-related death every 3 minutes. 1 stroke-related death every 3 minutes. How can stroke be prevented?
Well, stroke is prevented simple. Much like your coronary arteries that feed your heart, you have arteries here called the carotid arteries that feed the brain. So by keeping them clear and keeping that plaque reduced, and I've had people that go in with 90% plaque buildup, or go in with what's called a widowmaker in the heart, where you 50-50 chance of surviving the surgery, that have gone on arginine-derived nitric oxide, and within 30 days no longer needed the surgery because the plaque melted away. So to prevent a stroke, you prevent the plaque buildup in your arteries. Now, there's a different type of stroke too. The stroke where you bleed in your brain, that's caused from blood thinners mainly. So people that are taking Coumadin and warfarin and all these, it's not the plaque that's going to cause the stroke, it's the bleed in the brain because the blood is so thin.
So we have, and we're always told, exercise, watch your diet. Of those 2, exercise and diet, is there one that is better for you? I mean, obviously we should be doing them in concert, but what are your thoughts on that debate?
Well, interesting enough, if you look at diet and you look at exercise, neither of those are going to produce nitric oxide. Exercise will, but you would have to exercise 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Well, since we can't seem to give it 10 minutes, I think that's out. And as far as diet goes, things that are rich in arginine would be steak, lobster, things that
are bad for your cholesterol.
Right, right. So it's kind of, ironic. So the best thing is supplementation. My strategy is get tested early and supplement often, and educate yourself. You know, when you go to the doctor and he prescribes a medicine, look at the side effects of that medicine. I know you can't read them on that little sheet they put in there, but go on, you can go to med.med.gov or whatever, look at the side effects, because those side effects, believe it or not, next time you go in, you're going to be taking a pill for one of those, and then next time you'll take another one for one of those, and pretty soon you're on 8 different medications, and it all started from, you know, one. So yeah, we can win the war against heart disease. You know, we don't have to become a fatality. You know, we want to die in our sleep. By the way, I was just looking through my book this morning, kind of reviewing it, and what is the number one cause or time of day and day of the week that you have a heart attack? Mondays are the day of the week, or Saturdays, because people are out working or shoveling snow or whatever, not here in LA. And the time of day is between 6 and noon. And then I also read, and this is kind of interesting, athletic events, the World Cup, there are more heart attacks during the World Cup than any other.
Is that just because people get really excited?
Because they're so excited that their heart can't take it and they have a heart attack.
So we're having World Cup coming up this Sunday,
Yeah,
so be careful,
please.
people. Start taking some Arginine before then.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, the Monday morning thing I can kind of see, because people, I think there's an element as well of if you're not happy and you're stressed out with where you're going to go, and Monday morning comes around, you're feeling
Stress
that.
kills.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You talked a moment ago about getting tested. How often should someone get tested, heart tested? Annually, biannually? And
Well,
at what age should they start?
Well, the first reason for the test is this. You know, we talk about heart attack. Heart attack, you have warning signs. You get chest pain, pain in the arm, or whatever. And that attributes to every 20 seconds somebody has a heart attack, every 60 seconds somebody dies of one. But there's also something called cardiac arrest. Now, cardiac arrest is totally different. That can happen to anyone, anywhere, anytime, any age. Okay, 450,000 people die every year of cardiac arrest. You see young basketball players, soccer players, whatever, they just collapse and die. And that is the reason for the testing, because that is attributed to an electrical problem in the heart. Well, you can walk around day to day and not realize you have this electrical problem. Then all of a sudden your heart starts fluttering, starves your brain of oxygen. In 7 seconds you pass out, and in 7 minutes you're dead, unless somebody has paddles conveniently to restore your life. So cardiac arrest is the reason that we get tested. And there's simple things that you can do. An EKG will establish that. Unfortunately, especially for kids, you don't get an EKG before you go into, you know, playing basketball as a career or whatever. So we do have new technology. You know, it's often said that doctors are usually 10 years behind in technology. I used to go around the world with it was about the size of a VCR, and I would test people to look at their arteries, to look at, see how much plaque they had up in their arteries, check their heart rate, check their heart output, all these different things. And now it's come down to this. So we went from a VCR to this, which you can program on your phone, and it's a simple EKG, ECG, pulse oximeter. It measures your peripheral blood flow. It measures your communication between your brain and your heart.
Wow.
It does everything in a short test. And, you know, the machine I used to sell was like $13,000. This cost $500. So
you'd think that every doctor would have one of these in his pocket.
Yeah. Well, they prefer the expensive tests, the CT scan, the MRI, the EKG, you know, and then you pay, you know.
You have these here. Can we test me?
Yes, we can. I got to
would
turn
love
them
to
on.
test me for my heart health. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, we're going to look at your arteries and your heart. And
oh my gosh, a little bit nervous.
Maybe you don't want to.
No, I do. I think I try to be fairly healthy.
Okay, let me.
All right. So what? So I put my finger in here.
You put your finger in there.
And it's going to monitor me.
Just rest it there.
All right.
Now this is a 60-second text. She can't talk, so I can say anything I want about her, and she can't talk or say anything back. But right now, what's happening is 10,000 volts, like a stun gun, is going to go. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, what's happening is there's a laser light that, much like a pulse oximeter, you go to the hospital, they put like to check your oxygen flow. Well, what it's testing is the hemoglobin, which carries your blood to and back and forth from the cell. It delivers the oxygen to the cell, takes the toxins out of the cell. Well, it's measuring that hemoglobin all the way to her toes and back. And in so doing, it's looking at the strength of the heart. It's looking at the hardness of the arteries. Understand, when you get high blood pressure, it's because the arteries get hard and they can't pump. Also, it's looking at plaque buildup in her arteries. So it's looking at a lot of different things. It's going to look at her heart and arteries. So if she had a problem with a heart rate, with the EKG type thing, electrical problem, it would show up. People with AFib show up on this, and then we can treat that. Or people with plaque buildup in their arteries, it's going to show that. It will show all the way. Oh, you're done.
Oh, I'm done. I can talk?
You can talk now.
My goodness.
You're back on the air.
You were talking about the 10,000 volts. I'm thinking, oh, no, what did I get myself into?
Yeah, it's too late.
So that quickly, in 60 seconds, you have a reading on my heart health.
Right.
How healthy am I?
You are very healthy.
Oh, yay. What are we seeing?
So anyways, it came out as a type 2, and it goes type 1 to type 7. So at type 2, you are very healthy. A type 2 would put you between 30 and 40 years old, which I believe you're somewhere in that mix. Now, if you came out of type 7, I would tell you we need to do something. I would recommend a double dose 3 times a day for 30 days to get that to reverse as quickly as possible, and then retest you in 30 days. But yeah, it's you're coming out excellent. You've got great arterial elasticity. It means your heart's beating great. Everything, your pulse rate is great. Everything looks good.
Good to know. And I also didn't have to go spend $350 to go to the doctor. So thank you for this.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
I'd like to talk about your supplement though, because I want to really underscore the importance of it. You have in here, in terms of the supplementary facts, the supplement facts. That are not supplementary, they're supplement facts. You have a number of additional vitamins. You've got the arginine, and then you have B vitamins, B vitamin 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, B vitamin 12, vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin E. I mean, all of these in concert. Can people not just get this from their diet? Do they need the supplement?
100 years ago, yes. Understand that today, if you were to eat a cup of spinach, today and compare it to 100 years ago, you would have to eat 65 cups of spinach today.
How come?
What
has changed?
Because of the farming practice. There are 72 minerals, trace minerals, that should be in our soil. There isn't. There's only 3 which the farmers pump back in. So you're not getting all the minerals. Without the minerals, vitamins are not absorbed. For every vitamin, there's minerals that help to absorb it. So only getting the 3 minerals, you can eat a swimming pool of orange juice and you're not getting the vitamin C that's in here.
Wow.
So it's a sad fact, and our government has known about this for years because they did a study on this. And they said the lack of any one of these minerals could bring on disease. And we are lacking all of them except for the 3 that they pump back into the soil. So I think it's potassium, nitrogen, and something else. But this has, every ingredient in here is in here for a reason. The arginine, the citrulline, which is another amino acid, actually amplifies the effect of the arginine so that it stabilizes it and gets it to last longer in the body. The vitamin B, the supplements are in there. Remember I was talking about homocysteine being the cause of heart disease or the plaque buildup? Vitamin B, 6, 12, and 5, 6, and 12, or B4, 5, 6, whatever. They help to reverse homocysteine, to keep that in check. Omega-3, remember I talked about Dwight Lindell, the surgeon. What does he recommend now instead of heart surgery? He recommends omega-3. So, and it's not a fish oil, it's actually perilla oil. It's a vegetable base. Everything in here is natural and vegetable base. You have resveratrol. Resveratrol, we've been hearing about 60 Minutes did a big special on resveratrol. Why do the people in the Mediterranean area who eat a lot of fat don't have a lot of heart disease? Because they drink a lot of wine. Well, this is like drinking 20 cups of wine without the hangover.
Without the side effects.
Right. But it has, everything in here is in here for a reason. CoQ10. CoQ10 helps the heart strength. Every cell has a furnace, and CoQ10 is the fuel for that furnace. So everything in there is in there for a reason.
And I think CoQ10, correct me if I'm wrong, also helps in collagen
Yes, it
creation,
does.
which is
Yes.
great, ladies, for your wrinkles.
Absolutely.
So you're saving your heart and your face.
Right, absolutely.
Right? What is the recommended dosage for this?
Recommended
Daily?
dosage would be 1 serving twice a day. Now, if you're over 200 pounds, I would recommend a double serving twice a day. Now, if you have high blood pressure, if you've had a stroke, you've had a heart attack, you know that you have AFib, atrial fibrillation, or some sort of problem, then I would recommend a double dose 3 times a day for 30 days. See if everything stabilizes, which it often does. Then after that, you can cut back to one or 2 servings twice a day, depending on your weight. Children can take this. It would go by body weight. Up to 50 pounds, a quarter scoop, up to 25 pounds, a quarter scoop, 25 to 50 pounds, a half a scoop, and then a full scoop for anybody over 100 pounds.
Should we be starting children on supplements?
Well, it has all your vitamins, it has all your minerals, it has all your trace minerals. Children aren't getting enough vitamins and minerals, and don't think that eating
The
Flintstone,
Flintstone. Right, I remember those.
Yogi Bear.
That's my
Flintstones.
The Flintstone vitamins. Yeah, I remember those.
They're put out by pharmaceutical companies, and they don't necessarily want you to be healthy. So.
Right. You talk, and part of your mission is prevention before intervention.
Absolutely.
And I find that is so incredibly important for the reason that, we can, as human beings, longevity is increasing. For a healthy person, for me, for example, with the reading that I just did, knock on wood, I don't get hit by a bus when I leave here later, and I was born, in the late 70s, what is my estimated, we know for women, I think it's 83, men was
Right.
76, but that has to have changed if you are conscious of your diet, of your exercise, of your stress levels.
Right.
Or will we be expected to live comfortably into our 90s?
Well,
and
the
100s?
difference is this. We are living longer, but when you are 90 years old and you're eating your meals through a straw and you can't function, that's not the type of living that you want.
Right.
So what this actually does is helps you to live longer, but also live fully, live a life that's full, and you still have your mental capabilities, and you still have your physical capabilities, and you can still function and eat food without a straw.
We're here with Dr. Harry Elwert, and he has written the book, Let's Stop the #1 Killer of Americans Today, How to Prevent and Battle Heart Disease. In your book, you have a number of testimonials, and I read the book. It's incredibly impactful in terms of the information that it shares, all of the fallacies around, like we spoke about, some of the myths, also why conventional approaches are not working, and some of the things that we can do in terms of diet, in terms of exercise, what foods to eat, what supplements to take. But in terms of the results that you have seen from your patients, what are some of the more impactful ones that we can share with the audience?
I would say the most impactful ones are the ones where a family member takes their parent to a doctor, and that doctor says, there's nothing more I can do for you. Go home, make sure your will's in order. They go on the product, and their life turns around. And that family member contacts me and says, we cannot believe how his health has been restored. Or the person that has congestive heart failure that can only walk to the mailbox and back, maybe on a good day, that is now out doing a Zumba or Rumba or whatever.
Rumba, Zumba, yes.
Yes. It restores health. I've done trade shows where somebody will come up to me and say, I have AFib, I can feel it right now, or my heart rate is 140 beats a minute, tachycardia, what can I do? And I'll give them a serving right there, and I say, come back in an hour. And I come back in an hour, and they say, I can't believe it, it's gone. That quickly, things can happen. Understand, when arginine converts to the nitric oxide, and that nitric oxide goes into your bloodstream, you can't stop the effect of it. That immediately the arteries open up, dilate, increase that blood flow. When you increase the blood flow, guess what? You're increasing oxygen. Anytime you increase oxygen, you are increasing healing throughout the body. Now, a common practice for for an arrhythmia or for high blood pressure, is something called a beta blocker. Beta blocker has the opposite effect. It actually slows down the heart rate. Well, when you slow down the heart rate, you have this effect where now all of the organs begin slowing down because they're not getting the same amount of blood, same amount of oxygen that they're accustomed to. Pretty soon, your pancreas, now you're diabetic. Your sexual system, now you have erectile dysfunction. Very common for men. All these different things because the lack of oxygen, which is the healing element of the body.
This is good for people with diabetes as well, then.
Yes. I have a picture when I do a slide of what critical ischemia looks like. Diabetic, the end stage result is a heart attack, stroke, kidney failure, or amputation. It's gangrene sets in. I had somebody actually call me up and say, you know what, I was looking at your presentation that everybody orders product. I give them this DVD and they can watch it. But it shows what critical ischemia is. And he said, my mother had that foot. It was black. They were going to operate. This was Sunday or Saturday night. He said he put his mother on the arginine Sunday. She went in for the surgery on Monday. They went to cut, and it started bleeding, which is a sign of return blood flow. He said they canceled the surgery, and who knows? What happened was she's fine today.
Within 24 hours, this can turn things around?
You cannot stop the effect.
Wow.